There's a lawsuit to be brought, and it's time for someone to bring it. If you paid thousands of dollars of tuition to a music school, but you flunked out because of your performance in a degree recital or a jury, or because you developed a performance-related injury, I think you have a legitimate grievance. Music students go to conservatory to learn the music of Beethoven, Chopin, Liszt, and other lionized composers from 19th century Europe. But conservatories aren't teaching that. Instead, they're teaching modern performance practice of that. And there's a world of difference between the work and the modern performance practice of the work. It has to do with the way metronome marks are read. I've talked about this in great depth before, but I'll give you a brief timeline here. Say a composer wanted to notate this rhythm. Ba, 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 ba. They can do that with standard notation. And they could encode the performance speed into the printed score with a metronome mark. Let's try 176. Ba, 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 ba. So the metronome mark tells the performer exactly the speed to perform that rhythm. Or so those composers thought. Turns out it's human nature to speed up at things when we value speed. You can try it yourself. It's fun. Ba 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 ba. Authors in the second half of the 19th century even report performers playing music almost twice as fast as it was only decades before. And what happens when you reach 2x speed? Well, all of a sudden, that rhythm can magically fit with the metronome again. Ba 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 ba. So what happened gradually around the turn of the 20th century is that teachers and performers began to view those 19th century metronome marks through the faster 2x lens, effectively sanctioning what performers were already doing anyway. For a lot of 19th century music, it's at least theoretically possible to imagine composers wanted that. Some Beethoven sonatas, some Chopin etudes can be made to work at the faster speed, and those performances can be very exciting. But for a lot of music, it's impossible to imagine composers wanted that. I'm talking about Beethoven's Hammerklavier Sonata, Chopin's Winter Wind Etude, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, any of Alcon's work, even stuff that's supposed to be fairly accessible like Czerny Etudes is literally not playable at the prescribed speed of modern performance practice. Music schools tell students composers intended them to play at impractical, sometimes impossible speeds. And then take your tuition with the tacit understanding that they'll teach you how to do that. But they don't. They can't. They can't teach you to play at those speeds because no one can play at those speeds. This topic should be emotionally neutral. We should be able to discuss metronome mark interpretation in a collegial way, but we can't because the currency of the internet is snark, not scholarship. It's snarkership. So when people like me talk about this seriously, it always devolves into a sad spectacle of people who can't play that fast bullying others for not being able to play that fast. But our institutions of higher education should know better. They do profit from the general public's ignorance. After all, if you could learn this music the way it's supposed to go from your neighborhood piano teacher, why would you need to pay Juilliard $80K a semester? You might wonder why little old me has the audacity to challenge every major music learning institution. Well, it's because they've been coasting on this. Performance programs are happy not to scrutinize this because exciting performances bring donations. Academic programs are happy not to concern themselves with the practical matters of performance. So the status quo continues, with all the authority of the Catholic Church saying the sun revolves around the earth. And the students who are breaking themselves and music, putting collectively tens of thousands of hours into working their music up to speed, well, they're left voiceless. And that's where lawyers can help. If this music is supposed to go at the faster 2x tempo, higher education should provide a reliable path for you to achieve that in exchange for your tuition. And if it's supposed to go at the more practical tempo, then they should be teaching you to use your time more wisely, developing functional musical skills like improvisation, transposition, composition, tone production, phrasing, instead of requiring you to put your 10,000 hours into a path that ends in a brick wall with carpal tunnel syndrome and no music job. Only the small comfort that you used to play the first page of the Moonlight Sonata third movement pretty fast. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but the horse is music, and for now, it's still alive in some circles. And the only beating is by music teachers flogging their students to play faster with a metronome, or students beating themselves to play faster because they think that's how music's supposed to go. Listen, if you're a performer who wants to play this fast, more power to you. But if you tried that grind and you got ground up, I think you just might have a case.